is WhisperSister. This video is actually in response to a couple of videos by Totalrod2. I'm just going to direct this to you. I just listened to your videos and I felt the need to say something in response, and I actually have a fair amount to say, so I didn't want to write like 10 comments on your videos, so I thought I'd just do a video response. I guess I first would want to say I'm just really sorry to hear everything that you went through as a child, and so far in your life. Just made me really sad to hear how badly mishandled you were by the people who were responsible for you at that point. And I can really identify with a lot of the feelings that you describe. I can really, really identify with that, because that's basically how I've felt about myself for as long as I can remember. And I'm not trying to compare our experiences, because I didn't have to go through anything as traumatic as that. But I do. There were things that happened that the more I look back at them, the more I see where some of these messages kind of got planted. And I've had a similar kind of view of myself as sort of being fundamentally flawed, or less than other people. And it's something that I struggle with on a consistent basis. So I guess I just wanted to let you know that you're not alone in feeling that way. And I think that, I don't know, as far as letting go of the past, now, take what I say with a grain of salt, because I realize that I am one who really holds on to the past, probably more than what's necessary, and it's something that I'm working on. However, it doesn't sound to me like, well, I don't know. I agree that ultimately holding on to the past doesn't really do us any good. But I think that the way to get over things is not just to tell yourself that you should just forget it, especially when you're dealing with things that happened during sort of those formative years where you're developing your whole sense of identity, and these messages are what you're running off of. I don't think it's realistic to expect you to be able to just pretend that didn't happen and just be okay about it. I mean, to me, that's silly. If anyone tells you to just get over it and, suck it up and move on, I don't know. To me, that's kind of stupid. And again, like I said, I know that I tend, up until this point, my process with things like that has been to sort of focus on the past, try and understand it, try and come to terms with it, but I kind of leave it at that point. I don't really move on to the next, like to the future, and I think that is also a huge piece of the puzzle. So I commend your wanting to, move on with your life and all of that, and not dwell on it for the purpose of keeping yourself, rooted in the past or whatever. But I think personally, and this is just my opinion, that the way to get through it and get over it is exactly what you're doing. Talk about it, get it out, share it with other people, and let people respond to you with understanding and compassion. And open up a little bit to the idea that maybe you're not. I read one of the comments on your one, I think the first video, somebody saying something about, the more you try to become normal, the more you realize that nobody's normal. There's no such thing as normal. And I definitely agree with that. I heard you talking about how people would tell you that you should be married and have a house and all of this stuff. And like for me personally, I can just identify so much with all of those stresses and all of those doubts that you have, because that's basically the way that I've been living for the last 5 years, especially 8 years pretty much. When I got together with my ex and stuff, I kind of set myself out on that path, looking at life as if it was a series of consecutive steps towards some generic goal that everyone should have, the same goal and the same priorities and the same timeline. And you have to find someone and then get married, or I moved in with him and trying to get ready to have kids and stuff, and I don't even want to have kids with him, and just somewhere along the way you sort of accept this idea that what you really want doesn't actually matter. It's as long as you're measuring up to some standard and some timeline. There's all these deadlines, and people stop asking you what you want for yourself, and they start asking you, when are you gonna have kids, and what do you want to do for your career, and you get completely sidetracked with what everyone else wants you to be, that you lose touch with any kind of natural instincts, authentic desires for yourself and what you want. And I think that's where we go wrong. That's where I think most people fall into that trap, and the lucky ones realize at some point that that's not what life is supposed to be about. You either realize it by choice, or if you're lucky, if you can't do that and you're lucky enough, you'll have your entire life ripped away from you and it'll be the best thing that's ever happened to you, because this is what's happened for me. Everything I thought was my life, everything I thought was important, fell away, and what I've been left with is a completely blank slate. And I hear that in your voice. I hear that when I hear you talk about this stuff. It's like you've let this story of who you are have control over you for so long, and I can hear the frustration that brings, the part of you that is just like, you know what, you guys were wrong all this time. I have more to me than this, and I want to be who I really am. I want to be more than that story. That's what I hear, and I completely identify with that. And I just wanted to tell you that you can do it. It may be the hardest thing you've ever had to do, but what else is there to do with your life than find a way to become who you really are and be happy with yourself? What could be more important, So I just wanted to say something, because I've really enjoyed all of your videos, and I see this person who's really interesting and unique and very kind and humble, and because of things that have happened, you've got this story running of who you are, and I don't think it's the truth. I think there's another story, and I think that if you're open to it, and you're open to the idea that everything you've been believing about yourself up to this point may not be the truth, might be surprised at what other stories are out there. And I think one of the first steps is taking responsibility for your experience now, which is not to say that all of those things didn't happen and that they didn't have the effect that they had on you, but from right this moment, you are completely responsible for your experience now. And all that means is that literally you have the ability to respond. You have the ability to make a choice as to whether you want to believe the same old, negative things about yourself that were planted so long ago, or start to entertain other ideas about yourself and watch your experience change itself accordingly. It seems to me that you are kind of putting yourself down for making these personal videos and sharing all of this stuff. Like, people aren't going to want to hear you, as you say, bitch about your life and everything. And that might very well be. I can't speak for everyone else, and obviously from my videos you can tell that I don't particularly concern myself with what other people are going to think about me, because for me, I've found that these videos have been a huge help in starting this exact process that I'm talking about. If you go back and listen to some of my first videos from like last summer when I started, I was still on Prozac, I was still with my ex, I was still totally enmeshed in that life that was a complete lie and a complete denial of who I really am and what I should be doing. And you can hear the first few videos that I made. What happened for me was that I started to actually hear myself talking about things that I had been avoiding for a really long time. And through hearing myself talk, I realized that was part of what made me realize how much I'd allowed my life to become completely not what I wanted it to be. These videos are really just for you to hear what you need to say to yourself. And if anyone's listening and they get something out of it, then that's great. But ultimately, you deserve somewhere where you can get things off your chest and hear what you need to say, and just work through your stuff. And this, for me, has been a great way to do that. And so if it's working for you in the same way, I say go for it. And you might be surprised at how people respond. And if they respond negatively, whatever, who cares? It's not about them. There's a million other whispers now who are doing things for their subscribers, like relaxation videos and all that. So, dude, if you need somewhere to vent and this works for you, I say go for it. You'll have at least one loyal subscriber. Okay. I don't know. I don't know if that helps at all, but I just wanted to say something, and mostly just say that I feel for you, and I can really relate to what you're saying. So, you're not a freak. You're not alone. I hear a lot of the same frustration when you talk that I was feeling, that ended up being the force that prompted me to start making changes for myself. So I really hope that that you might start to do the same, because it's an amazing